Well, hello everybody. How is everybody doing? How have y'all been? Have y'all been enjoying the new year? Did y'all make any New Year's resolutions? What's been going on? I do want to know. How have y'all been sleeping? Have y'all been getting y'all sleep? Now tell me y'all started the new year off right, getting your sleep. All right, now that's what I want to hear. I want to hear y'all been starting your new year off right, getting your proper rest. Because you know what I say. We need to get our rest so we can get up in the mornings and defeat the challenges that we're going to have throughout the day, because you know it's going to be some challenges. Well, y'all, before we get into what we're getting into, let me tell you what I'm drinking. Y'all, I had the nerve to juice me some pineapple and orange juice. Yes, one orange and a couple of spears of pineapple. Y'all, here it is. Yes, honey. Can y'all get with that? And then I had the nerve to put a drop of wild orange essential oil. Look at that, y'all. And then, I'm trying to be fancy. Put me a couple of little pineapples on the side. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and I forgot to tell y'all. Honey, I put some ginger in this because I wanted to have a bite. Hi. Y'all, this is good. Look at that, y'all. That's pineapple with orange, ginger, and a drop of wild orange essential oil. Y'all, well, tonight I wanted to come into the garden because I wanted to tell everybody that I'm wishing everybody a blessed and wonderful and prosperous new year. Y'all, we've been through so much through the last year. Some of us have gone through great trials and tribulations, but this year is going to be our year, right? Well, y'all, I have been thinking, and I was thinking about a story in the book. And in the story in the book, it was about a man named Saul. And Saul was on his way on the road to Damascus, because he was on his way to Damascus. He was riding his horse, and he was going on about his business. He had a letter in his hand, and he was going to persecute, beat up, kill, whatever he can do, terrorize the Christians. But something happened on the road to Damascus. A light shined from heaven, and he heard the voice of the Lord say, "Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me?" And it knocked him off his horse. And he was like, "Lord, who art thou, Lord?" He knew who he was. He was like, "Lord, who art thou?" He said, "I am the Lord who thou persecuted." He said, "Know ye not that it is hard to kick against the prick? You can't win." In other words, the Lord was telling him, you are fighting a never-winning battle. You can't win. Your arms is too short to box with me. You are no match for me. So you might as well leave my saints, my people alone. So when Saul got up off the ground, y'all, he was blind. He couldn't see nothing. No, there were people around him because he had a crew with him, but nobody heard the voice but him. Nobody saw the light but him. All they saw was Saul fall off his horse and was talking. They was like, "What? Wait, he done lost his mind. What's going on?" Well, they took him right on to Damascus. And while he was there, he was blind, so they had to lead him. Now, this is a man that had strength, had authority, had power. He was intelligent. He was educated, but now he's blind. And he has to be led around by others because he can't see. Well, they took him right on into Damascus. And as Saul was praying, he began to pray, y'all. He began to do the very same thing that he was persecuting others for doing. So he began to pray unto the Most High. And he had in his vision, he had a vision while he was praying. He saw a man named Ananias come and lay hands on him, and he received his sight. So when the Lord told Ananias, "I need you to go to Damascus and I need you to lay hands on Saul," he was like, "Wait a minute, hold up, Lord. Now, he the one that's been killing, persecuting, and terrorizing the Christians, and you want me to go to him? I'm hiding from him." And the Most High told Ananias, "No, I want you to go lay hands on him that he may receive his sight." So Ananias, he got his nerve together because, I would be a little bit weary too. I know that this man have a letter in his hand from the king. He has authority to come and terrorize me. He can even kill me if he want to. Now you telling me to go and pray for him? Wait a minute. What's going on? Lord, I thought you loved me. Well, Ananias got some boldness about himself, and he went on down there to Damascus. He laid hands on Saul. Saul received his sight. Let me tell you something. It wasn't easy for the other disciples to receive him because all they remember was his past. All they knew about him was he had come to persecute them. He had come to beat them down, to kill them, to throw them in prison. Whatever it took, he had the authority to do it. But it made me think about something. Saul's name was changed from Saul to Paul. And Paul ended up being one of the greatest apostles in the book. And not only that, but he wrote most of the New Testament. The majority of the books in the New Testament, he wrote. So when you look back at his life, y'all, and you see what all he had been through, what all he was doing, persecuting the saints, now here he is coming to the apostles, coming to the disciples, telling them, I'm a believer now. I believe like you believe. I love the Lord like you love the Lord. I had an encounter with him. And they was like, no. Peter, all of them, they was like, I don't know. I don't trust him. So it took a little time for them to warm up to him and to believe that he was who he said he was, which was a changed man. And I thought about another story. I thought about the children of Israel when they were in Egypt and how the plagues had to come. The frogs, the locusts, the water turning to blood. All these things had to come before Pharaoh had softened his heart and to allow them to go. So when they left Egypt, honey, they went into the wilderness and got to mumbling and complaining, and they ended up walking in a whole circle for 40 years. And it was only like a 5-6 day journey, but they were in there for 40 years before they can go into the promised land. So that made me think, why did they have to go through that? Why did Saul have to be blind? Why did he get knocked off his beast? Why did Ananias have to go and be the one to pray for him? And I thought it made me think, y'all. It made me think it took that to get this. It took the children of Israel walking around in the wilderness for 40 long years before they can go in and possess the land that was promised to them. 40 years ago. It took that to get this, because all of the complainers, all the naysayers, all the doubters, they had to die off. Generations of them had to die off in the wilderness before they can proceed to the promised land. So that it took that to get this. In order for them to get what they needed from God, all the dead weight had to fall off. In order for Moses to be the one that the Most High used to bring the children, to lead the children out of Egypt, he murdered an Egyptian. He ran to the back part of the desert. He hung around in that desert until the Lord talked to him through a burning bush. It took that to get this. It took what he went through to bring him to be the deliverer of God's people. So I want to say to us tonight, it doesn't matter what you went through last year. Not that it don't count, but it's not going to bring you, you went through what you went through so that you can get to a higher place in the Most High. You went through that so you can get to this. You went through the trials and the heartaches and the bad times and the being lied on and the talked about and the being mistreated and discarded and disrespected. You went through a lot of that in 2020 because you had to come to a place in 2021 where you knew who God was. It took that to get to this. It took friends that you thought were your friends that turned their backs on you and started lying on you and mistreating you, and you thought they were your ace coon boon. You thought they was your ride or die, but you found out that they really was haters and they really didn't like you no way. But it took that to get to this, because now you know how to discern spirits. You know when that spirit come to you again, you will know that spirit. It's a familiar spirit now because you've had an encounter with it. It took that to get to this. Sometimes we have to go through heartaches, y'all. Sometimes we have to suffer loss. Sometimes you got to hit the bad before you can see the good. But it takes that to get to this. Remember, no matter what happens, remember, no matter how bad it is, no matter how bad and uh, uh, how horrible your situation could be, remember it took that to get to this. Maybe you went through a divorce. Maybe you got fired. God forbid. But you ended up, God set up a better job for you. He's setting up something better for you. It took that to get to this. Because had you stayed in that job, had the Lord not made a way, had not fixed it where they would go ahead and let you go and release you, you wouldn't be looking for the job where the Lord really has for you, because it's time for you to be promoted. But sometimes we get comfortable in the situation that we in. We get comfortable and we don't try to move out. We don't try to advance. But the Most High has something greater for us. But we sitting back in comfort. And He's saying, no, don't get comfortable, because this is not your end. This is just a beginning for you. So something happens, the job ends, the contract expires, whatever happens, they're laying off, downsizing, corona, closed down, but God has something better. It took that to get to this. So don't get discouraged. Don't give up because of the things that happened to you in 2020, but look for the greater in 2021, because your latter days are going to be greater than your former days. Your peace now is going to be greater than the peace you had in 20. Your wealth, your health is going to be greater than it was in 20, because it took that to get to this. Sometimes we don't understand why we go through what we go through. We don't understand why we have the heartaches and why we have the mishaps and why we have the upsets. But it took that to get to this, because now you know better. Now He's taking you through. There was a song say, I thank Him for the rain. He said, because if I never had these problems, how would I know that God can solve it? Through it all, I've learned to trust in His word. So it increased your faith. It renewed your joy. It restored your hope. So it took that to get to this, because in 21, you are a better woman. In 21, you are a better man. In 21, you are a better wife. In 21, you're a better husband. In 21, you're a better friend. In 21, you're a better co-worker. In 21, you're a better employee. It took that to get to this. It took Saul being knocked off his beast, being blinded, having this very same one that he was going to persecute, to come and lay hands on him and pray for him to receive his sight. It took that. Now he's one of the greatest men in the Bible. He's one of the greatest apostles of all time. The Lord used him mightily, but it took that, knocking him off his beast, him suffering blindness for a few days, allowing the same person that he was going to persecute, he had to humble himself and let him lay hands on him so that the Lord would renew his sight. So I just came into the garden tonight to encourage us. It took that to get this. Whatever that is in your life, whatever that hardship, whatever that problem, whatever that situation is that you experienced in 2020, it took that to get this. So don't fret. Don't get all upset. Don't get bent out of shape. This is our year. This is our year for increase. This is our year for blessings. This is our year for restoration. This is our year. So I want us to start getting up in the morning and to begin to speak those things that be not as though they already are, because it took that to get this. So stop crying about what you've been through. Stop beating yourself up about things you allowed. Don't worry about it. Relax. Everybody calm down. It took that to get to this. Only you know what that is. What that is. Only you know what you've been through. Only you know what you've experienced. Only you know what that is. So whatever your that is in your life, whatever that is that happened to you in 2020, it took that to get to this. Remember Saul, God changed his name. He said, you're no longer Saul. I'm going to call you Paul. And he became one of the greatest men in the book. So it took that to get to this. So whatever your that is, begin to thank God. Begin to give him the glory. Begin to praise him because it took that to get this. So everything is going to be all right. This is our year. So rejoice in the Lord. Be of good courage because he's going to bring it to pass. All right, y'all. I want y'all to go out there and have a blessed and wonderful year. For this is our year. Claim it, receive it, and believe it. All right, y'all. Now, before we leave out of the garden, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, why not? It took that to get to this. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And I want you to tell yourself, look yourself in the mirror in the morning. And I want you to say, it took that. Everything I've been through, it took that to get to this. And I'm getting to this. You got it on purpose. Until the next upload. Later, y'all.